Okay, hopefully this is a good spot and you guys can hear me okay, but I already filmed this video and I'm kind of pissed off because I already filmed this video, I already edited this video, I was exporting this video, and I did not have enough space on my computer. So I tried to make space and I ended up deleting a file, which then corrupted my Final Cut Pro file, which made it so I could no longer export said file. And because that happened, every time I have tried to re-edit the footage after bringing the file back, because I had a copy still on my SD card, just not on my desktop anymore. I don't know what the problem is, but I guess it corrupted that file too, or just made my computer really laggy, and for some reason I cannot edit the footage anymore. So I had to scrap it and we're starting over. We're starting from scratch. Pissed off about that, but you know, you live and you learn. And I will make sure I have enough. Also, I recorded the footage in like freaking 4K on accident, so that was my bad. Anyways, today's video is my 2026 knit list. I know it's March, okay? When everyone was posting theirs, I was in the trenches at Primary Children's Hospital with my almost 10 or 11 week old, and it was just the furthest thing from my mind as far as me posting something. And now that I feel like I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel and my baby's eating a little bit better, I feel like, I don't know, I wanted to put a little something together and show you guys what some of my plans are for this next year. The categories are knits for myself, knits for other people / like trades, and then knits for my kids that I have planned. Let me pull them up. Also, you are probably gonna get pretty much every single angle of my living room because I cannot find a spot. What is going on? It's giving buck teeth. I cannot find a single spot that is providing the type of vibe that I am trying to curate, and just know I wanted more for you guys, okay? If I can gain the courage, if I can muster the energy to clean my, I almost said playroom. I don't have a playroom for me. If I can do my craft room, maybe I'll set up something cute for in there, but it's pretty bad. What was I showing you? Oh, okay, I remember now. Let's just hop right into it. I don't really have anything new to update you on other than the new Instagram and TikTok algorithm hates me. So all my stuff is tanking, which is fine. I post for me. So my number one, wait, none of these are in order. Dang it. Knits for myself in order of priority. Okay, and I'm gonna actually commit to this because I do love to hop around and do, what's it called? Dopamine knits. So pretty much anything that I have as a work in progress needs to be tackled ASAP. Number one is the Foolproof cardigan by Wemadewardrobe. I love it. I have the yarn for it. I actually already have it cast on. I would say I am, I almost lied and said that I thought maybe I was like going to be close to joining under the armpits, but I don't think that's even remotely the truth. Ultimately put this project down because it was right before I gave birth, and you know, I was working on some baby knits. Sorry, I just flicked a piece of food off the book that you guys are sitting on, and it went onto my blanket and I can't find it. Anyways, I was working on baby knits, and so this one got put on the back burner pretty hardcore. It's beautiful though. I want to finish it. I'm excited to wear it this fall. Since finding out that I am a soft summer, I really want to wear this in the fall. After blocking my glow cardigan by the Violent Cat Lady, I know how much this yarn grows, and so I will be probably cropping this or at least doing a mid-project block. But the beautiful thing about a top-down cardigan is I can kind of adjust the length as I go, whereas the glow cardigan was worked from the bottom up in panels and then sewn together. Not doing that again. So yeah, I would say I'm like maybe 1/9 of the way through that project and I need to just tackle it. The purl rows were really hurting my hands with those bigger needles, so the sooner I finish this, the better. Next, I have the Billie blouse by Yndlingsting, or Yndlingsting. I don't know how to pronounce their username. She is the author of the Edna blouse, or the Edna sweater that I did as a test knit back in December and January. Love her patterns. She does a great job with the instructions. This one is a crochet and I already have the yarn for it. It's in the, I think it's the Friends Cotton 8/4 in denim. So it's a really pretty blue. It's in my palette. So we'll see how I love it once I'm done with it. I'm kind of a slow crocheter and I think that's why I also put that one on the back burner. I only had like this big of a panel done, and I think I worked on it for a while, but I did have fake nails on, and that always like really impedes my ability to do anything, especially knitting and crocheting. I can imagine myself right now editing the footage being like, ew, you nasty, put some chapstick on. Okay, so those are my only two like unfinished whips that I need to get to, so that I can free up some needle space and then also free up some space in my yarn closet, because that is actually really important. Next on my to knit list would be the Frankie sweater by Petite Knit. I have a vision of doing this almost like wine purple and a really soft dusty rose maybe. I believe that the used yarn, like the recommended yarn for it, is Pure Gint Sanda's Garn. My current project is using Sanda's Garn's Pure Gint, and then their Tin Silk Mohair, and then the Edna sweater was a Pure Gint. And I know it's kind of a more scratchy yarn for some people, but I actually really loved working with it, and I'm interested in continuing to work with it. I think they have such a wide range of colors that pretty much work for any project type in that weight. Another crochet project that I've really been excited about is the Button Up Top by emmymadeleinecrochet. I saw it on Pinterest one day and I could not find a link for it. I couldn't find any comments asking what the pattern was, and I had to reverse image search it, which I actually just learned how to do via some friends on Instagram. So I'm really excited. I can't decide if I want to do a colored version or if I do want to do the cream that you see pictured in it. I hate to keep barking about the soft summer color palette, but it tells me that I should stay away from like stark whites, and I would actually say that I agree. I think that every time I wear a bright white or a dark black or a pure black, it washes my complexion out so bad, which is really unfortunate because Mama has a lot of black, white, and extremely dark navy. So that's gonna have to be rectified. What I love about that pattern is the high neck, and I love a cap sleeve. I just think that they look so chic and dainty. And instead of doing the clear buttons that I think it has, or maybe it's like a mother of pearl shell button, I kind of want to find some fun colored buttons and have it vary up the button band. This next project isn't a sweater, it is a beanie. It is the Lucky Stars beanie by TheLongWeekend. I think it's so cool. It's a double knit beanie, color work. Never done double knit, and I am honestly very intimidated by color work. My tension tends to be a little bit funky. I'm still very novice with color work, and because it does require a little bit more brain power, I feel like this past year I've stayed away from that so as to just like enjoy my knitting. For this one, the color she uses on like the pattern page, they're pretty high contrast. I think that I want to do a baby pink and a baby blue. I don't know, just something fun. A sweater that I've actually been really excited to cast on ever since I saw it, but for some reason have never gotten around to. I say some reason, I literally have 4 kids, and I would say I have no time, but that time is spent cleaning and doing homeschool and other things. However, the Lakes V-neck Pullover by Ozetta. I love it. I'm not super certain what color yet. I, again, need to refer to my palette. Sorry if you're annoyed already. I just think it'll be so nice paired with some comfy jeans. I don't know. Anyways, I'm really excited about it. I want to make the neck a little bit wider. I've seen a lot of people knit them a little bit too tight, and while I'm a big fan of the sweater, I'm not a huge fan typically of V-necks unless they are like a pretty wide neck. But I don't want it so wide that I'm like constantly hiking it back up my shoulder. So we'll see. I might have to play around with that one a little bit more. Okay, I did the Edna sweater test knit this past winter, and it was awesome. Such a well-written pattern. It was my first time ever doing cables or any sort of cable work, and I'm not gonna lie, it was extremely intimidating until I started going, and then I really got in the rhythm, and reading the chart wasn't so bad. But then I was like, dang, this is really hard and a lot of effort, and if I mess up even one stitch, I could throw off the entire pattern. But it was kind of thrilling. And I saw the Wild Cardigan by Lily Kate France done by Hannah, and I loved it. She picked a really cool color. I think that it really made the cables stand out. And I had ordered this like acai purpley blue, almost like on the more navy side, colored yarn from Barocco Vintage. And I got it. I knit a swatch. First of all, I don't know how to count stitches when it comes to cable work because the stitches are all moved around and whatever. And so 1, I couldn't tell if I was on gauge. And then 2, because it wasn't the recommended yarn, I think the recommended yarn is a lot more rustic and honestly seems like it's a little bit less stretchy. Like, I don't know if that's like an accurate descriptor for that, but it seems to be a little bit less, what is the word? Not flexible. I think it would just hold its shape a lot better and maybe block out to barely just like the slightest bit wider or longer in each direction, slightly. Whereas the Barocco Vintage, beautiful soft yarn, however, it has some synthetic elements to it, which when I blocked it, it was so freaking stretchy. To the point where I was like, I don't know if this is gonna be such a good idea. Like, what if I knit this entire project and 1, it's huge, it blocks huger, and 3, the cables like lose their shape. And I think something about rustic yarn that makes cables so beautiful is that because it is a little bit more like inflexible, I almost feel like it pushes certain parts of like a cable pattern outwards, whereas this yarn was so flexible that there wasn't like a whole bunch of texture happening. I don't know if that makes sense, but if it does, then it does. Next is gift knits and trades. Well, there's actually really only one planned. I have friends who gave me presents for Christmas and like, I don't think I've ever really been in a friend group where people do that. And I was caught off guard to say the least. And I felt so terrible that I did not have a gift to return the favor. Like, I am a gift giver. Like, that's one of my love languages, but I only really give gifts to people if I feel like it's something they would actually appreciate. I don't go out of my way to like give everyone the same kind of generic gift. However, knitting is one of those things where I would say most people do appreciate it, but then also I feel like it's a great way to give something like really personal. And the AnnieSews sailor slippers are just something that I've been wanting to knit for a while and I feel like would be really fun. So I texted them all, got their favorite got their top 3 favorite colors and their shoe sizes. But where I need help is, so obviously the pattern is a UK sizing, but it does not specify gender. Maybe my question's only a quick Google search away, but is the sizing gender neutral? And if that's the case, then I need to convert like the men's sizing and the women's sizing into this UK sizing so that I know what size to knit them. Like, that's the only problem I foresee. So I have 4 pairs of sailor slippers. They seem like a pretty quick knit. Actually 5, because my sister-in-law, I already bought some drop snow to make hers and I haven't made them yet. The next knit is a trade. I have the Tide Top by Lison.Knits. It's an Etsy pattern. It's a halter tank top. It looked great. I have some cream cotton. This would be for my sister-in-law. She recently gave me a tattoo and she wanted to do a trade instead of have us pay her. And so I'm really excited about that. I typically am not a huge lover of when people are like, can you make this for me? And they show me a picture of something I might have 0 interest in making. But where it's a trade, I actually feel like it's going to go to someone who values the time and effort that I'm putting into it the same way that I value the time and effort that she put into tattooing something on my body permanently. She said earth tones, and initially I had planned this like green color, but I have some cotton, this like cotton linen, I want to say, in my stash, and I need to double check the size or like the weight of the yarn and then also how much yardage I have of it to make sure it would work for this pattern. But like I said, it's a halter tank and I'm pretty sure it's cropped. So I should have enough. And that one will actually probably take priority over the Foolproof cardigan just because I think it just needs to get done. Anyways, that section was short. That category was really small. Now we're on to kid knits. My oldest 2, Sloan and Murphy, my daughters, they've been begging me for a sweater. I was in the habit of knitting them. Okay, my husband texted me. I have been in the habit of knitting them birthday sweaters, but when we lived with my in-laws, someone kept washing them and shrinking them, and so I stopped. And just recently they were like, Mom, please, can we have some sweaters from you? Every time I pull out my knitting, like my Honey cardigan, they're like, is that for us? Girl, no. It is time. I do think I've learned my lesson that for kid knits, I should just use like some sort of super wash or like machine washable yarn just to mitigate the risk that you run when it comes to hand knits and keeping them clean. And now that we no longer live with my in-laws, it should be a lot easier to avoid actually drying them, but we'll see. I need to ask them what colors they want, or maybe I won't ask them because kids pick ugly colors. I'm gonna be real. And if I'm gonna knit it, I kind of want to enjoy it, but maybe I'll let them like pick from some colors that I've pre-chosen. Okay, for my son Moab, I want to knit him a Frankie sweater, and he's a boy, so he can't tell me what colors he wants. He also doesn't speak English very well, but I'm thinking some sort of low contrast blue on blue. Kid knits work up so fast, and I feel like I could crank this one out because if I'm not mistaken, it's like a top down raglan. And so that, especially once it's joined in the round, if it doesn't already start out in the round, it's like a matter of days to get a sweater done. So I'm really excited about that. When I first started knitting like clothing items or like garments, I started with the Sophie hood, and I knit it for my mother-in-law, and I knit it in this really pretty carrot reddish orange from Malabrigo Rios, and I loved it. It was a great beginner pattern. I do want to try and find a way to hack it to fit my older three. My baby, what does she have need for a Sophie hood for? Anyways, my older three though, when they play outside in the winter, they no longer want to wear the balaclavas that I've knit them. One, they say they're too itchy. Fair. I think I used 100% wool and alpaca, like mohair or something. I don't know. That was my bad. But they don't want to wear those balaclavas anymore. And they still need to have something on their heads and their neck because it is pretty harsh up here, especially where we have like a very dry winter. Does that make sense? Like, yes, you can have snow, but it's still considered dry. Like if you can't compact it, it's like dry snow. I don't know. Anyways, it's also very windy up here. And so I want them to stay warm, but I haven't really found a pattern close to the Sophie hood that I love. So I'm thinking of trying to hack it to fit a child. I assume I would just need to do less increasing before shaping the hood. I'm not sure. We'll find out. But I was saying, I think it's a great beginner pattern. Teaches you garter stitch, teaches you high cord edging, increases, decreases, shaping, binding off, seaming, so counting rows. So if you are looking for a beginner friendly pattern, there's one. And that's a like whole other side topic, but I don't really feel like there are any, I mean, there are true beginner projects like dishcloths or whatever, but if you are someone who's like, I don't want to start off with dishcloths, I just want to knit a sweater, do it. Just knit a sweater. Look up tutorials as you go for certain techniques. I honestly don't think it's like impossible. Okay, I hacked the holiday slipover vest by Petite Knit, their junior version, and I hacked it to kind of fit my 2-year-old because the sizing I think only goes down to like a 4-year-old, but now I want to knit the 4-year-old version for my almost 3-year-old because he's a thick guy, and that 2-year-old version I made him fit him for like 2 months before his stomach was hanging out the bottom. So I want to make one for him specifically, but I think my daughters would also love one. It's so cute. They're into like layering their clothes, and I think their personalities are starting to really come through with this. And I was actually maybe considering using the Lang Cloud yarn for this, just to have like a really fun, colorful piece in their wardrobe, but they especially would love to layer something like this over a dress. So I think I'm gonna try and make for sure one for my son, but then potentially some for my daughters. And then the last pattern I have is actually another crochet pattern. It just says Granny Square Cardigan by Tatiana Zuccaia. Anyways, I saw this one on Pinterest as well, and I searched everywhere for the pattern, couldn't find it. The other day I reverse image searched it and found it on Etsy, and it looks similar to the construction of like a hexagon cardigan. So I'm really excited about that. I have a ton of scrap cotton, and I think it'll work up really, really cute. So I think I'm gonna make that for my older two, Sloan and Murphy, and then potentially Salem, depending on what her vibe is. We'll see. I'm starting to get to know her a little bit better, and right now she's still in that phase where she's barfing on everything, so I don't really want to like knit anything too precious. But a cotton should really honestly be super easy to just chuck in the washing machine. So, and then maybe if I have tons and tons of time to knit more, because we're for sure gonna finish everything on this list, maybe I'll knit one of those for my nieces. We'll see. Other honorable mentions. Let me look at my phone for this. Pull out Pinterest. Like if I need a palette cleanser, I'm thinking about knitting stuff or crocheting stuff for my house right now. Hopefully we're living here longer than a year. Right now we're renting. I love this house. I would love to buy this house. So if it ends up being fate and they decide to put it on the market, we'll try and buy it. And I'm hoping that's the case because I'm already like dreaming up so many different fun things to customize this home with as far as like crochet and knitwear. Yeah, because my house is gonna wear something. No, I'm thinking like filet crochet curtains, or I thought I saw a spider. You know, just like small customizations. Things that I could still move with me, but would just look beautiful in this house. Can we banish AI? I've accidentally saved like 9 different AI patterns, but I'm convinced I could find a way to actually recreate them. Ooh, I really want to do, I think it's like the stripe overload cardigan. Camille made one, and Camille, if you're watching this, I personally hate you because I feel like you always have the best yarn choices, and the combination of colors that you use couldn't have been more perfect, but I do love the pattern overall, even if it's just like a 2-color combination. And so while I don't have my own color combination picked out yet, maybe I'll insert some like inspo, especially for like all these other patterns. I think I'll include inspo for what I have. I love the way it's like slightly cropped. I like the width of the sleeves, and I like the slightly higher neck. It's not quite a turtleneck, but it buttons all the way up to like, yeah, like maybe right here. Okay, so what the actual hell? You can't see, you see now? Right here is a window. I have the blinds down on it now. I'm thinking of putting up like a tension rod and making a filet crochet curtain, but I don't want to commit to that big of a project because even though it's not like a blanket size project, filet crochet I could imagine still takes some time because it's such a small weight of yarn, like a finer weight. And if we're not going to be able to live here forever, then I don't want to commit to making something that fits this space that I won't be able to make work somewhere else. Almost like a cafe style. I don't think it would go from top to bottom like the full dimension, but like maybe a cafe curtain. For Christmas, I usually like to send like dishcloths to family members. I'm kind of tired of that. And while I know that it's greatly appreciated by them, I'm sick of making them. Like it's just become muscle memory, and almost to the point where I'm just like, I don't know. I'm interested in knitting some little teeny tiny ornaments, and maybe if I have a decent amount of finer weight scrap yarn, I can make everyone the same ornament, and like everyone will get the same ornament every year, but they'll get a new ornament, if that makes sense. So I have the IKEA benches. It's actually what you're on top of right now. You're on top of that, and then like 2 biblical sized history books, and I have an interest in completely covering them with crochet. I don't know, like I'll insert an inspo pic, but it would be something to this effect in single crochet to really kind of cover the wood. They're deeply stained by my kids and their art projects, and I like the idea of being able to like put something over them and then be able to throw it in the wash. Ooh, I actually am really interested in making like a felted bag. I have so much of that drops yarn. Don't ask what from. It's a failed business venture that I never actually pursued. I just ordered the yarn for it. Anyways, I have so much yarn for it, feltable yarn specifically, and I think it'd be fun to make like a shoulder bag, fully felted, maybe even like a deep tote. So there's that. And then I haven't found the perfect pattern for it yet, but I'm thinking of a double crochet, wider strapped tank top. I do wear garments, so it would need to work with that. And I think that the crochet aspect just looks so much nicer than a knit for some reason. The texture, the variance in colors and stuff like that is really cool to me. So that's it. I know for a fact there are way more patterns, but I honestly think that the longer I look at my Pinterest and like my saved stuff on Instagram, the more I'm like, do I actually want to knit anything on this list right now? Or do I want to do this one? So I need to move on. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. If you've made it this far, comment your social security number. Bye guys.